Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we are going to talk about start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look and have a bit of fun at building a 4-box set army for the Gloomspite Gitz. Now the idea of this video is to build a 2000 point army of the Gloomspite Gitz using just 4 different box sets, and so we're going to do this with a couple, and as you might assume the army box set for the Vanguard box set will be in here along with the new Bragggarts Rabble-Rousers box set, and we'll then have a couple of character models as well to add to that to create a 2000 point list. We'll go through all the boxes in turn, talking about all the units that come inside the different box sets that we're going to talk about, how you can build them and or what your options are there. And then after talking about all the different box sets we've got here, we will then look at showing you a 2000 point army list that puts it all into practice. And so, the first box set we have here is the Vanguard box set for the Gloomspite Gitz. Now, this is the standard sort of box set for the Gloomspite. You are having a character here that's going to lead there, and this is going to be the Loon Boss. The Loon Boss is sort of your standard Goblin Warlord, as you might think. 5 wounds and a 4+ save there, with Bravery 5 and a 5-inch move. You got your Moonslicer. He's no slouch in combat with 5 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage D3, and the model also has a built-in 6+ ward save thanks to his Dead Trixie ability. Now, I'm the boss now. Stab 'em good is a really cool command where anytime you issue all-out attack with a command point to a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit, if the unmodified wound roll for an attack made by that Moonclan unit is also a 6, you can actually inflict a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. And this is in addition to the normal +1 to hit that you would get from all-out attack. Now we do get a few Battleline unit options in here, and the first of these is Stabbers and Shooters. Moonclan Stabbers and Moonclan Shooters are our basic sort of Night Goblin Grots. Shooters, as the name might suggest, are the ones that will be armed with bows. The Moonclan Bow is a 4+ to hit with a 5+ to wound, no Ren and damage 1 with 1 attack at a 20-inch range. They do get to add 1 to their attacks if there's more than 10 models in the unit. Now, both these units have something really cool called netters, where you subtract 1 from hits for attacks made in melee that target any unit that has any netters in it, which is really nice. On the other hand, the Stabbers have a 5+ save instead of the 6+ save of your Shooters, thanks to also having shields. And we've got the option between having basic Stabbers, which are your close combat weapons, or the Poke and Spears. Now the difference here is the Poke and Spear will hit on a 5+ rather than a 4+, though you will get an extra inch of range. Generally, in a unit of 20, I would probably say go the Stabbers, you'll probably get more out of them. If you're starting to build up to like big units of 60 grots though, you definitely want to take the Poke and Spears. Now, you've also got the Anarchic Hordes rule, where while this unit has 20 or more models in the unit can contest objectives while they're 9-inch away from them, rather than your normal 6-inch. Now, the next unit we have in here is a dual kit between the Squig Hoppers and the Boingrot Bounders. Squig Hoppers are a Battleline unit at all times, and they've got a movement of D6 plus 10 inches, with 2 wounds each and a 6+ save. Their big thing is boing boing boing, which is one of their special rules. Amazing name as always for the goblins. And after this unit has made a normal move, run or retreat, you can pick an enemy unit and roll a dice for each model in this unit that passed across a model in said unit, and on a 4+, that unit will suffer a mortal wound. Now the other option is the Boingrot Bounders, and they're effectively like your Goblin Knights. Boingrot Bounders have a 4+ save with 2-inch wounds there, and they've also got a move of D6 plus 7, so slightly slower than your regular Squig Hoppers. They do have quite a few attacks on them, with 5 attacks coming out of the model with a bunch of Ren 1 damage 1. But you've also got Lancers of the Bounders, where you can, every time you make a charge move, you can add 1 to their damage and improve their Ren by 1, which is really nice. And the Boing Smash rule will allow you to do some mortal wounds on the turn in which you charge as well. Lastly, we have another unit that can also be Battleline if we actually take a Troggoth General within our force, and this is the Rockgut Troggoths, who have 4 wounds each and a 4+ save. Regeneration actually allows them to do some healing at the end of each turn, and Stony Skin will give them a 5+ ward. They have their Throw and Boulders attack as well, where they can do some nice mortal wounds at range as well. And then lastly, their melee weapon is the Massive Stone Maul. Only 2 attacks per model, but they are 3s and 3s, Ren 2, damage 3. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so next up we have a brand new box set, which is Bragggarts Snatches. Now this is a box set for the Regiments of Renown that are coming out alongside the Dawnbringer books that are a narrative supplement for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And indeed you could use this box set for any other Grand Alliance Destruction army if you want some Regiment of Renowns in your force. But for Gloomspite Gitz they can't use the Regiment of Renown, they indeed will get the regular scrolls instead. But that is pretty cool because we do get a nice bunch of units in here, and the first of them is a brand new character that's come out alongside the Dawnbringer books called the Rabble Rouser. Now, Rabble Rousers are a rather interesting character to bring into your Gloomspite Gitz force. What they're going to provide you with is another sort of little support character for your force that's going to have, some additional little ability. And so our Rabble Rouser, first of all, will have his Moonsickle and Basher, which is 5 attacks at a 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound with Ren 1 damage D3. But you've got a bunch of different rules here. So Mushroom Stuffed Bat Squigs allows you to deal some mortal wound at range to a variety of different units. So once per battle, in your shooting phase, you effectively pick 3 enemy units and they'll take D3 mortal wounds, which is really cool as you unleash your Bat Squigs. Your Squig Skull Armor means you've got a 4+ ward while it's with more than 6 inch from any other enemy units. And Get Going You Gitz allows you to target an enemy monster and effectively go them towards your Rabble Rouser, pulling them out of line and enabling you to sort of section them off and take them apart without all the support of the surrounding army. Now we then have another unit which is going to be the 12 Squig Herd. Squig Herd can become a battle line depending on how you build up your force, but they are going to provide you with 2 wounds each and a 6+ save with D6 + 5 movement. Now you've also got their Fang-Filled Gob, so you've got a nice amount of Rend 1 attacks coming out of them. Squigs Gone Wild means you can actually do some mortal wounds when the unit is failing its battle shock test, as the Squigs effectively go wild and run everywhere. And herding squigs means the unit can't receive any commands though, because you are effectively trying to herd a bunch of teeth on legs. Now the next unit we have inside this box set is a unit we talked about in the previous slide. We've got 10 more Squig Hoppers and or Boingrot Bounders. But the last unit here is the Gobberpalooza. This is a really interesting unit and probably I would say my favourite unit I have ever painted for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. There is so much character in here. They are absolutely amazing to play games with. And so you've got the ability to be a wizard, which is really cool, so long as you've got the Bogglite in there and you can attempt to cast one spell in your hero phase. And also your Shrewmancer can also attempt to cast a spell as well, so you've got 2 casts in the unit so long as those models are alive. Hallucinogenic Fungus Bruise, where in your first battle round the unit will have a ward of 4+, and the second of 5+, and in the third and subsequent it will have a 6+ ward save. And you've got a variety of different rules. Mesmerize is a spell you can cast, which will allow you to stop your opponent being able to issue or receive commands. And you've got all the different know-whats in here, which can provide a variety of different buffs, from adding 1 to run and charge rolls, adding 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by a character, or your nasty poisons, where you can pick a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit and improve their rend of their melee weapons by 1 as well. Next up, we have a Gloomspite Gitz wizard called the Fungoid Cave Shaman. Now, depending on where and how you're picking up this model, it could be known as Snazgar Stinkmullet, which is a name for a Malign Portents character that came out and was actually sort of a older version of the Regiments of Renown back in the day. But this model is a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard for the Gloomspite Gitz, which is really fun, and you're going to be able to get some abilities here with this model that's also going to allow it to sort of punch up its magic a little bit more powerfully as well with the Deathcap mushrooms, where once per game it can either eat a Deathcap, and if it does so it can attempt to cast an additional spell, though it must be from the Law of the Moon Clans. You've got the ability to gain some extra command points from having this model in your force as well, and it isn't visible to enemy units that are more than 12 inch away thanks to its Spore Squig Wall as well. Its mortal wound dealing spell on its War Scroll is Spore Maws, which is a rather short range, but it does allow you to target all enemy units within range of you when you do so. And lastly, we have a model that, well, is going to need to take up a lot of points because we are left with quite a bit of points left at the end after just those first 3 box sets. But this will be a model that really will carry its weight, and that model indeed is Kragnos, the god of earthquakes. Now, Kragnos is going to provide you with a really nice punchy piece for your Gloomspite Gitz force. You've got 18 wounds on a base 2+ save. He has a ton of different high rend attacks. The Dread Mace in particular with 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, rend 3, damage 4. And his Tuskbreaker as well with another 3 attacks at 3s and 2s, rend 2, damage D3. Now he is a War Master, so this model will count as your general, even if you've picked another general in your force, which is really nice, but he has a ton of special rules. Bellow of Rage will allow you at the end of any phase, if any wounds were allocated to this unit, you can roll a dice for each other unit and each defensible terrain feature within 6 inches of this model, and if the roll is equal to or greater than the Bellow of Rage value, those units will suffer D3 mortal wounds, and that defensible terrain feature will be demolished as well. End of Empires, if a friendly destruction unit is within 12 inch, they can attempt to charge at a unit that is 18 inch and make their charge rolls on 3d6 instead of 2d6. Rampaging Destruction will allow you to, after you make a charge move, you can either roll a dice for each enemy unit within 1 inch, or you can pick one enemy monster within an inch of this unit and roll 2d6. If you roll a dice for each enemy unit within an inch on a 2+, the enemy unit suffers d6 mortal wound, but if you roll the 2d6 for the monster on a roll of a 7, nothing happens. On any other roll though, that enemy monster suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the score of the 2d6 multiplied together. For example, a 2d6 roll of 2 and 6 would inflict 12 mortal wounds. Avatar of Destruction, if the unit would be instant slain by anything, it just takes d6 mortal wounds instead. And the Shield in Violet has the unit having a ward save of 6+, and in addition, each time it's affected by a spell or endless spell, you can roll 3d6, and if the roll is greater than the casting value of that spell or the spell used to summon the endless spell, you just simply ignore the effects of such things. Lastly, for the purpose of contesting the objective, this unit counts as a number of models equal to the mightiest makes mightiest rule on its damage table, which can have it counting as 30 models at its highest profile. And so here we have our sample army list for the Gloomspite Gitz. Now, because we do have quite an eclectic mix of different goblin models in here, we've gone for the King's Gitz. This is just going to allow us, each time we use the Bad Moon's Loon Shrine Moonclan Lair ability, we can have it be able to be re-rolled, which is pretty cool. We do have a bunch of units that can use it, so really, probably the one to go. There are some other options in there we could go with, but all of them really do benefit taking some of the more specific sort of heavy spider army, heavy squig army, heavy army with lots of trogs, etc. So I think, King's Gitz is probably the way to go. Now, we do have the grand strategy, protect the shrine. This is pretty simple. Don't let people destroy your Moonclan shrine. And then we have our leader, which is going to be our loon boss, who's got the command trait, the Clammy Hand. This is a really fun command trait, because what it means is we can effectively use the ability of the Moonclan shrine twice per turn. And then we have our Rabble Rouser in there, along with Kragnos, and our Fungoid Cave Shaman, who's got the Staff of Sneaky Stealing, which every time we dispel spells, we actually get better at dispelling, which is pretty cool. And we then have a spell, Merciless Blizzard, on the model as well, where we are going to be able to potentially deal 4d6 mortal wounds. Now we then, for Battleline, have our 12 Squig Herd, Squig Hoppers in 2x10, and then 20 Moonclan Stabbers in there as well. The other units in the army, we've got the 3 Rockgut Troggoths and the Gobblepalooza as well, with a Hand of Gork for a nice little teleport. And then we have 2 battalions in here. First of all, we have the Wizard Finders of Andor, which allows us to potentially get some extra attacks against other wizard units on the table. This is going to include our Loon Boss in the force, along with our Squig Herd and Rockgut Troggoths. And then everything else is wrapped up in a battle regiment, meaning we are a 4-drop force, which is pretty cool. If you've got some ideas, though, on how to build a Gloomspite Gitz army with just 4 box sets, if there's a box set you would swap out for maybe Kragnos or the Fungoid Cave Shaman, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description, and also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, either by Patreon or YouTube members, or by grabbing yourself some merch from our Teespring store as well. All of those are linked down in the video's description, and a special thank you to our YouTube members and patrons. We'd like to give you all a shout out, so thank you to our YouTube members John Castle, Disco, James Tillman, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, Ariana Edwards, Broken Chef, the Johnny84, Lock Lorick, Ronya, Greenroots Gaming, and our patrons Wasaren, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Redman, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. Thank you all once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.